What if I told you the darkest cults of ancient Babylon used forbidden rituals to summon forces beyond our understanding? In this video, we'll uncover the chilling truth behind Babylon's most secretive cults, where human sacrifices, astrological rites, and blood rituals were just the beginning. You'll explore how they sought to control both cosmic and earthly powers, manipulating life, death, and even time itself. Stay until the end to learn how these ancient practices might still influence secret societies operating in the shadows today. To understand Babylon's cults, we first need to understand what Babylon was. This ancient city-state, located in the Mesopotamian region, modern-day Iraq, was one of the most influential centers of ancient history. It reached its peak around the 18th century BC and again under King Nebuchadnezzar II in the 6th century BC. Positioned at the crossroads of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, Babylon sat in an area so fertile that it allowed for significant economic, cultural, and political growth in the region. However, what truly made Babylon unique was not just its military power or advanced laws, such as the Code of Hammurabi, but its relationship with the divine. In Babylon, everything that happened in daily life was connected to the will of the gods. They influenced the harvest, the weather, and the fate of each individual. Babylonian priests, known as Baru, were responsible for interpreting these divine wills, and their influence even reached the government. A unique feature of Babylonian spirituality was the belief in the duality of the universe's forces. Everything was perceived as a delicate balance between order and chaos. Dark cults emerged on the fringes of this balance, attempting to manipulate chaotic forces through forbidden rites that sought to channel a higher power. Babylonian gods, although worshipped for their benevolent aspects, also had destructive facets. This duality gave rise to secret sects that aimed to appease the feared side of the deities, performing sacrifices in hopes of controlling the chaotic forces of the universe. The Babylonian gods were complex, embodying both constructive and destructive aspects of life. Take, for instance, Marduk, the supreme god of Babylon. Publicly, he was venerated as the god who brought order out of chaos. But those who delved deeper into his hidden facets saw in him a destructive force that needed to be controlled. Similarly, the goddess Ishtar, known as the goddess of love and fertility, was also a feared figure in her destructive aspect. As the goddess of war, Ishtar demanded sacrifices and devotion, and those who failed to meet her expectations could face her wrath. This dual relationship between creation and destruction not only justified violent rituals, but also facilitated the manipulation of religious beliefs by political and priestly leaders. Fear of the gods allowed control over the people, using their devotion to achieve political and social ends. Dark cults flourished in this environment, where sacrifices were not just a form of worship, but a tool to acquire power. These bloody sacrifices and secret ceremonies sought to connect with the most feared aspects of the gods, believing they could channel their power for personal and political gain. One of the most unsettling aspects of Babylonian cults was their obsession with blood. In Babylonian cosmology, blood not only represented life, but it was the essence that connected the human world with the gods and supernatural forces. Blood sacrifices, both human and animal, were considered a direct way to invoke divine attention and manipulate the invisible forces that controlled the world's destiny. In the Temple of Marduk, the chief god of Babylon, rituals were conducted not only to seek blessings for the harvest or the city's protection, but also included symbolic and, in some cases, real sacrifices. Marduk, also known as an Anunnaki god, was revered as the deity who defeated Tiamat and established order in the universe, securing his central place in Babylonian religion. While he was publicly worshipped as a protective and creative figure, his cult also had a darker, more secretive side, where sacrifices were made to maintain cosmic balance. Prisoners of war were considered perfect offerings. Their death at Marduk's altar was not just an act of worship, but a way to restore cosmic order. These rituals were meticulously planned, with some involving the dismemberment of bodies, under the belief that the scattering of parts intensified the connection between Earth and the heavens. Furthermore, it is believed that the organs of the victims were used for divination, a process that involved reading livers and other vital organs to decipher divine messages. This practice, known as hepatoscopy, was one of the most common forms of divination in Babylon, and bloody sacrifices were considered essential tools to gain answers from the gods. Babylon was also one of the world's first centers of astrology. Babylonian priests were renowned for their deep knowledge of the heavens and their complex astronomical observations. Astrology wasn't just a tool to predict cosmic events, it was believed to directly influence human affairs. This celestial knowledge was used to foresee disasters, plan military strategies, and guide daily life. However, astrology played a crucial role in the dark cults as well. It was believed that certain astral events, such as eclipses or planetary conjunctions, required special sacrifices to appease cosmic entities. During moments of celestial alignment, human victims were sacrificed in nocturnal rituals, with the stars guiding each movement of the priests. These cosmic sacrifices were part of conjuration rites intended to invoke demonic forces or higher deities, with the goal of gaining control over the future. Ancient writings mention that these sacrifices were performed in secret, with only a select few priests and high-ranking officials privy to the full details of these rituals. The astrologer priests, known as Baru, conducted these ceremonies, believing that gods and demons could be influenced by astronomical events and blood sacrifices. After understanding the role of sacrifices in Babylon, the question arises: what were the darker cults truly seeking when offering these lives? For some, the goal was far more terrifying than one might imagine. One of the most feared and secretly venerated deities was Tiamat, the primordial goddess of chaos and the sea. While traditional mythology tells of Marduk's defeat of Tiamat, ending her reign of chaos, the reality in esoteric circles was quite different. Hidden sects, operating on the fringes of Babylonian society, viewed Tiamat not as an enemy to fear, but as an endless source of power. For them, chaos was not the end, but the beginning of everything. Through complex rituals, the followers of these cults sought to open portals to the chaotic realms that Tiamat represented, believing that by invoking her forces, they could bend the order of the universe to their will. The ritual of the Abyss, as it was known, involved blood sacrifices and the use of sacred objects to attempt direct contact with demonic entities. These creatures, the cultists believed, could offer knowledge and powers that defied the laws of reality. However, the dangers were immense. Ancient accounts speak of entire cities being destroyed when priests failed to control the forces they had unleashed. Participants in these rituals entered deep trances, induced by ritual substances and long periods of fasting. During these trances, they believed that chaotic entities could possess their bodies, using humans as temporary vessels to manifest in the material world. Through this communion with chaos, they sought to gain hidden wisdom and the power to shape the future. But chaos is not easily controlled. Some ancient texts mention that at times the portals opened by these rituals remained active long after the ceremony had ended, allowing uncontrollable forces to cross into our plane. These breaches between worlds posed a danger not only to the participants, but to all of Babylonian civilization. The cities destroyed by forces that could not be contained stand as terrifying testimonies to the risks associated with these dark rituals. Just like Tiamat, Ishtar held a central role in Babylonian religious life. While Tiamat symbolized chaos, Ishtar, the goddess of fertility and desire, embodied a different type of power. Though she was often depicted in her more visible roles associated with war and love, her secret cult harbored a much deeper and more mysterious aspect. At the heart of these rituals was sexual magic, a form of esoteric practice that transcended physical acts to connect participants with cosmic forces. Here, the transition between life, death, creation, and destruction became more evident. Sacred prostitution wasn't just a form of religious devotion, it was a tool of spiritual power. Ishtar's priestesses, known as Naditu, not only offered their bodies in temples, but also participated in rites that transformed sexual energy into a direct channel to the goddess. These rituals were not merely about seeking blessings, but were seen as a way to access the darker, hidden secrets of the universe. The concept of hierogamy, or divine union, was a ritual where worshippers could spiritually merge with the goddess. The energy generated during these rites was believed to have the power to alter not only individual lives, but reality itself. Those who successfully channeled this cosmic energy could manipulate fertility, weather, and even the outcomes of battles. However, not all sexual rites were symbolic. Some accounts mention sexual sacrifices, where the act culminated in the death of one of the participants as the ultimate offering to the goddess. The power behind these rituals lay in their ability to unite the human with the divine through sexual energy. They were not mere acts of pleasure, but tools to gain divine favor or even access forbidden secrets of the universe. However, as with Tiamat's rituals, the risks of manipulating such powerful forces were great. Those who partook in Ishtar's rites risked not only their bodies, but their souls as well. From sexual union rituals to blood sacrifices, Babylon was enveloped in practices aimed at controlling the invisible forces of the cosmos. But of all the cults that existed in the city, none was as feared or as horrific as the cult of Moloch. This god, associated with the sacrifice of infants, demanded an extreme form of devotion and a kind of offering that few could bear. Sacrifices to Moloch, conducted in giant furnaces that represented his figure, were performed in secrecy, far from public view. Only the most devout families, often the most powerful, were willing to offer their firstborn children as proof of their loyalty. The fire was the medium through which these sacrificed people were consumed. The sacrifice to Moloch was not just a form of worship. For the priestly elite, it was also a means of consolidating their power. By demanding the most precious possession of each family, their firstborn, the priests ensured that these families remained forever tied to the cult. It was a form of absolute control, where devotion and terror were inseparably intertwined. Some ancient texts suggest that the sacrifices didn't just appease Moloch, but also channeled his destructive energy. This energy was used to secure victory in wars or to eliminate political rivals. Moloch wasn't just a god of sacrifice, he was a god of absolute power, and those who worshipped him hoped to gain his favor in their own quests for domination. Throughout this exploration, we've uncovered how Babylon's darkest cults went far beyond mere religious beliefs. They were intricately woven into a system of power where controlling invisible supernatural forces was the key to ruling both the spiritual and material realms. The blood spilled in their sacrifices, the stars guiding their rituals, and the secret sexual rites of their deities all reflect a civilization determined to harness the deepest energies of the cosmos, no matter the cost. Babylon shows us that humanity has always been fascinated by the unknown, by the occult, and how this curiosity has often been used as a tool for control and power. Priests, rulers, and elites knew that true power lay in the fear of the unseen, in the dread of the chaotic forces that could be unleashed if the gods were not appeased. It serves as a reminder that, even in the ancient world, the line between religious devotion and the manipulation of belief was razor-thin. The echoes of these dark cults still resonate in esoteric practices and occult theories that survive to this day. It's not just about myths and legends, it's a warning that when knowledge and power intertwine with the unknown, the consequences can be both profound and unpredictable. If you're intrigued by ancient mysteries and want to uncover more hidden truths, consider giving this video a like and subscribing so you don't miss any future revelations. See you in the next video.